We're here in the Street of the Ladies, in the Colonial City of Santo Domingo, which is the oldest city in the Americas, okay? And what we're looking up here is the main entrance to the Fort of Zona, which is the oldest fortress in the Americas, and it was built in 1505. It was built by Nicolas de Ovando, and by the way, Ovando is the founder of Santo Domingo in 1502. See all those little holes in door? Those are gun shot from 1965. That's when we had our last revolution in this country. Back then, the USA president was Lyndon B. Johnson, who sent about 42,000 Marines down here because they thought the communists was coming into this country just like it did in Cuba, and they did not want another Cuba in this area. Let's step in this door, please. We're going to check the Fort of Zona right now. What is that? That building that you see over there is a fort I've been telling you was built in 1505, but you see they used it as a prison until 1972. But it wasn't built for a prison. It was also served as a residence by Diego Columbus and his wife Maria de Toledo. See, this Diego Columbus I'm talking about was the son of Christopher Columbus. Because let me tell you, there was another Diego that was his brother. His brother was a conqueror and his son was a colonizer. So he was sent down to Santo Domingo back in 1509 as a viceroy and a governor. And he stayed up there for 2 years. 1511, he moved out to another building which is called the House of the Road. I'm showing it to you later. And he stayed in that building till 1514, till they finally built the Alcazar, which was his governor palace. If we look all the way down there, we can see a few cannons. The right side cannon is Spanish, but the left side one is British. The British got down to Santo Domingo in 1655 during the second English invasion, which was led by Sir William Penn. I'm talking about the father of William Penn Jr., who founded Pennsylvania in the United States. Small word, right there. The statue of that to our left, that was made in Spain in 1976. It's made in honor of Gonzalo Fernandez de Oviedo. He was sent down to Santo Domingo back in 1533. He got down here to work as a captain of the fort, an anthropology and historian writer. It's also wrote about the West Indies history. So we tell Oviedo was quite important to the Spanish back in the 1500s. The statue is made out of bronze, but it's hollow. I mean, it's not solid, if you know what I'm saying. If it was solid, I don't think they would have given it to us as a present. That building that you see over there to our right, it was a powder magazine built in 1787, and it was built by the order of King Carlos III from Spain. They kind of made it look like a chapel to confuse invaders around those days, you know? They were very smart back then, were they? Here we have the Street of the Ladies, first street in the Americas, built in 1502. But it's called Las Damas of Ladies since 1509, when Diego Columbus and his wife arrived to Santo Domingo. They brought 30 ladies with them. They were the court ladies of Maria de Toledo. So you know, every afternoon, this is the road they used to do their walking up and down. That's what it's called, the Street of the Ladies. And let me tell you something. I don't really blame them ladies by choosing this street over here to have their walking. Because you know, having a 410 there with a whole bunch of soldiers, they maybe wanted to hear at least a whistle. I'll tell you something else. Most of them got married to them soldiers, so they were stupid at all. They knew what they were looking for. Colonizing, that's all it was. You see, I always say women are smarter than men are. That's why I keep saying happy wife, happy life, okay? This building right here is another pretty old one from the early 1500s, but during the years, the big change in the style of it. That's why it doesn't really look that old. It's also what they had, the second spot for the first university in the Americas, which is called St. Thomas of Aquinas University. built in 1538. So they had it in that building till 1928 when it became the first fire department in Santo Domingo. Today is a building for the Archbishop, you know, his office in there. Hell of a chance on it. Now we'll keep going this way. Right here, right on this corner over here, which also belonged to Nicolas de Ovando. I told you Ovando owns 7 buildings in this area. So here's another one. But let me tell you, this is where Hernan Cortez, you know, the conqueror of Mexico, this is where he stayed at while he was in Santo Domingo. Today is the French embassy. That's why you see the French and the European flags hanging in there, okay? See it? And that white building right across over there would also belong to Nicolas de Ovando. But that is where Francisco Pizarro, you know, the Peruvian conqueror, that's where we stayed at. But today it's a hotel in there. I mean, the whole block is a hotel room. So this corner, all the way to the end is a hotel. They said it was the last place where Christopher Columbus stayed when he came to the New World for the last time, around 1504, okay? As a matter of fact, there's a sign saying he was there in August 13 till September 11, 1504.
Wait, someone pass, they want to pass.
This part of the hotel here is known as the first governor house in the Americas. So here it is where Nicolas de Ovando used to live. I told you he owned 7 buildings, but it was his home here. This is where he lived at. And let me tell you, Ovando is pretty well known in history as the big extended words Spanish commander. Big extended words, I'm explaining to you the best. Because he's the one who built the most in Santo Domingo. And the words because he wiped out most of the Indians here, okay? That's why the big 10 words. It was the Jesuit convent, and it was built around 1755. So actually it's one of the newer buildings in the whole old city. Let me tell you, while we were ruled from Haiti, I mean, the Haitians ruled the Dominican Republic during 22 years, since 1822 when they took over, till 1844 when we kicked them out. So what they were ruling as, they converted this church as a tobacco store and a market. When we kicked them out, Dominicans made the first national theater out of it. And we had a Dominican dictator here named Trujillo, who was in power since 1930 until 1961. So he wanted to make his own private mausoleum out of this church for him and his family. But you know, he couldn't get it because they killed him in 61 and his family had to leave the country. Then the next government decided to make it a national mausoleum for Dominican heroes and very bright Dominican people, and that's what it is today. They made him with animal faces, so hey, because they thought they couldn't keep the evils away. You know, that's a European superstition, not Dominicans. I want to make that clear. And that anchor over there, they dug it out from the north side up in 1976. It was belonged to a galleon which sunk in 1724. This was a private chapel. The private chapel belonged to the richest Spanish family who ever came to Santo Domingo from Spain. I'm talking about the Davila family. They just live right next door. So they did not have to go far to hear the mass. I believe they also had their own private priest too. So they had no sins, you know? You see up there right across the river is supposed to be the oldest stone chapel in the Americas, and it was built around 1498 by Bartholomew Columbus. You know, this guy was a brother of Christopher. The reason they have it on the other side is because, you know, the city was started on that side first. But the city got thrown down by a hurricane. And that's why when Nicolas Giovanni arrived to this island, he started to build it in this island. Right there we got the sundial. See what I mean right there? Sundial. Built in 1753. In two phases to see the time. On the right side face, right here, we got the time in the morning. Let's finish about this. Side, we got the time in the morning since about 6-7 o'clock when the sun rises on the east till noon. You see how numbers coming down in order from 6 to 12. See 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See what I'm talking about? And on this other side, we got the time in the afternoon till the sun sets. So don't you forget it's a sundial. If there's no sun, there is no time. Simple as that, okay? See? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That building in the front over there is a building for the first governor's palace in the Americas. Built around 1512. They used it as a palace until 1947. So I'm saying a dictator Trujillo was in power from this building during 17 years out of 31 that was in power, 17 from him. In 1947, he built the presidential palace the current president is using today. Of King Carlos I from Spain and the thing from Germany. You see the golden head eagle over there. And he was a Spanish king that used to say that in the Spanish Empire the sun were never set. Meaning they were so powerful worldwide that the places belonged to Spain was dark. But in the meantime, and in other places far away also belonged to Spain was sunny. Later, the British took that expression for themselves. That right there is part of the old city wall. The old Santo Domingo was surrounded by a wall built in 1543 by the order of this king Carlos I from Spain. Known as the Texan word in Spanish for nothing. Texan word. Build the ball, kill the ball. You know, it looks a pretty big guy there, see? I'm talking about Christopher Columbus' son's palace, Diego Palace, and it was built in Diego lived there till 1524 when he got ill. So that year they took him to Spain, and a year later he died in Spain. But I tell you, it's the only historical building which almost been completely rebuilt in the whole old city. The dictator Trujillo rebuilt it in 1955. There are furniture inside, they ain't got to do nothing to the Columbus family. Because when Sir Francis Drake, the English pirate, took over Santo Domingo, they broke in the house and took everything they had inside there. And guess what? They also lost them in the Caribbean Sea in Zona. So I'm going to ask you guys not to go to England thinking you're going to see those furniture in the British Museum, because they're not. If you want to see them, you're going to have to dive in the Caribbean Sea and find them. And if you do find them, you let me know and I'll put it on my tour. Oh, look at those three beautiful girls coming over there. Dominican girls are very good looking girls, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
You record that too. You guys, in the front is called the House of the Rope. It's easy to determine what's called House of the Rope. You see the stone rope in the front over there. And it's there, because the houses belong to Franciscan priests. You know how Franciscan, they all gotta wear rope in the waist, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what I told you, Diego Columbus and his wife moved in. But they moved out of the fort, they came here, and from here they moved over there. It's a bank over there now, a bank. That's what it is now.
So are they still using this building?
It's a bank.
Oh, this is what the bank is.
It's a bank now.
Oh, that's the name of the bank, right?
Yeah. You want to catch some pesos? We have the outlet game over there. Do you?
Oh, for sure. Bro, you want to get some pesos, right?